Welcome back. If you're familiar with the African Group of Negotiators Expert Support and our core mission, you know adaptation isn't just a policy point for Africa, it's survival. Today, we're doing a deep dive into our adaptation special program. It's absolutely critical work. The challenge is huge and urgent. Africa faces this disproportionate burden from climate change. We're talking devastating, extreme weather, massive shifts in climate patterns. It hits everything: agriculture, water, health, energy, infrastructure. And projections show Africa's adaptation costs skyrocketing by 2050. Yet, adaptation efforts are actually slowing down, and that finance gap, it's widening.
Exactly. And what often gets missed, and what the African Group of Negotiators Expert Support is really designed to tackle, isn't just the lack of funding, though that's part of it. It's the limited technical capacity on the ground. The ability to actually develop and manage projects that build resilience and reduce vulnerability effectively. So that's why our program focuses on working across the board with technical experts, scientists, negotiators, policymakers, all at once. We work to make sure adaptation measures fit Africa's unique context, bridging that gap from global frameworks right down to our local communities.
Okay, let's unpack that integration piece. How do you translate that need for capacity into actual sort of global political leverage? Specifically, how does AGNI support the African Group of Negotiators, the AGN, particularly around the global goal on adaptation, the GGA?
Right? We provide the underlying science and the strategic language they need to make Africa's voice unified and strong. Under the GGA framework, we're helping define what adaptation success actually looks like on the ground, so that the big adaptation finance flows can well follow effectively. For instance, we prepared the draft submission on the Baku Adaptation Roadmap, and just recently, we coordinated expert consultations to gather views on the proposed GGA indicators. That's a crucial input for the COP30 negotiations. That kind of information, it's the currency of negotiation, really.
And speaking of setting standards, the materials mention the background paper on indigenous and traditional knowledge, ITK. That sounds vital, but integrating ITK, it sounds good in theory, but practically, what are the biggest hurdles you face actually weaving that knowledge into formal things like the UAE framework?
That's where it gets tricky. The resistance isn't always, explicit disagreement. It's often bureaucratic methodological. Our paper pushes ITK beyond just being a nice idea, beyond anecdote. It outlines concrete ways to integrate it verifiably. Because if you don't define how to do it, ITK stays theoretical, and you lose all that critical local context in global climate planning. It just gets sidelined.
Right? That makes sense. But that high-level policy work, it really only lands if it connects to actual, tangible local action. So if we shift focus now to the evidence and capacity building side, that brings us to the partnership with the Climate Development Knowledge Network, CDKN.
Yes, exactly. This part is all about accountability, making sure every dollar, every shilling of climate investment counts and can be tracked. We're working to strengthen the capacity of county and national governments in Kenya, specifically helping them track these investments using a new digital system. It's a monitoring, evaluation, reporting, and learning tool, MORAL for short.
A digital monitoring, evaluation, reporting, and learning tool. That sounds like a significant technical step forward. Operationally though, what's the main challenge when you're rolling out something like that? Especially in places like Makwini and Vihiga counties, where you're piloting it now. Is it the tech?
It's interesting. It's usually not the technology itself. The biggest hurdle is often coordination. Climate action involves so many different players. Data gets stuck in silos. So, by piloting this tool, and we expect it to be fully operational in 2026, we're kind of forcing that system-wide transparency and coordination. It helps enable genuinely data-driven decisions. And that transparency means local accountability for meeting climate goals. It also helps pinpoint where the next adaptation investment really needs to go.
That focus on data seems like a common thread. It runs through critical analysis work too, like the opinion paper you did with the International Water Management Institute. IWMI, that paper critiqued the state of water adaptation indicators. What specific gap was that knowledge product trying to fill?
Accountability again, and equity. That paper came out earlier this year, and it really highlighted that while we have adaptation goals on paper, gaps remain, especially in ensuring equity, making sure the benefits reach the most vulnerable, and also major issues with just basic data readiness. Are we even measuring the right things? Can we? So we're not just tracking progress, we're challenging the system itself to be fairer and frankly more effective.
So, putting this all together for you, the listener, Agnes is essentially working to bridge that huge distance between ambitious global climate promises and the practical, technical, transparent execution needed on the ground for communities to actually adapt and survive. We're working to ensure climate funds don't just get allocated, but are used accountably and make a real difference.
And this leads to maybe a bigger question to think about. We're currently developing another technical paper, this one on transformational adaptation. So considering all these policy gaps, data issues, capacity limits we've just discussed, what fundamental deep structural changes really need to happen to move Africa beyond just incremental adjustments? Just patching the holes and towards genuinely securing long-term resilient futures. Something to really mull over. That is definitely a powerful thought. Please do explore the links and the documents we touched on today. They're available on the Agnes resource page. Thanks for joining this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.